Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. Today's block is called City Girl, and it finishes 12 inches. Here is the diagram. This is a really simple block. We're going to make flying geese 4 at a time and a 9 patch in the center. Simple, simple. Here are 4 blocks set block to block. This is part of the Stitch Pink 2020 quilt from Moda. I changed it up a little bit, but you can download their pattern by clicking or scanning this link. Here are the patches. There are 4 patches. Patch A is a 3-inch finished square. We cut 3.5-inch squares. We need 4 patches for the background, and those are in the corners. Patch B is a 6-inch finished quarter square triangle. We cut 7.25-inch squares. Cut them in half twice on the diagonal for 4 patches. And this is the geese part of the flying geese. And the flying geese are on the sides. There are 4 of them. We're going to use the 4 at a time method to make flying geese. Patch C is a 3-inch finished half square triangle. And this is the sky portion of the flying geese. We cut 3 7/8-inch squares. Cut them in half once on the diagonal for 2 patches. And these are the sky part of the flying geese. We're going to cut these slightly larger. In the cutting instructions, I have your choices of cutting them the exact size or cutting them larger to trim, or just cutting patches. Patch D is a 2-inch finished square, and we cut 2.5-inch squares. These are for the 9 patch unit in the center. All of the AccuQuilt dies you can use to cut these patches are listed here. So we're going to start by let's first look at the fabric. This is patch A, and it goes around the outside corners. This is the geese portion of the flying geese, and this is the sky portion of the flying geese. We have cut the geese portion the exact size. We've cut the sky portion a little bit larger so we can trim those down. And these are the squares. This is patch D for the 9 patch unit. Let's start by making the 9 patch unit. And we just lay these out like this. Move this up. Now we just stitch the patches into rows, 3 rows. Press our seams and then stitch the rows together. Our 9 patches finished, and this should measure 6.5 inches when you're done. Here's our little 9 patch finished, and I pressed my seams open. We'll put this to the side. Now we turn to our flying geese patches. This is the large square, and we cut this the exact size. It's the geese portion of the flying geese, and we have our 4 smaller squares that we cut a slightly larger so we can trim them down. So on the back of each of the small squares, we're going to draw a diagonal line. You'll take 2 squares to start off, put them right sides together and match the corners here. Do the same thing with this one. Match the corners here. And you want to make sure that these lines are straight. They line up. What we're going to do is stitch 1/4 inch on both sides of this diagonal line. So you'll stitch this side, then flip it around, and stitch the other side the same way. You cut this in half on the diagonal line, and you'll open this up and press your seams open or to one side. I press my seams open. Do that for both sides. Now for both of your pieces, we take the remaining squares and lay them down like this. Match the corners, and then we'll stitch 1/4 inch on both sides of this line as well. Do that for both of these. For both of these pieces, we'll cut on the diagonal line, and you have 2 pieces like this. Press your seams open, and you get this, 2 of these. Now we'll trim them down. We're going to trim it to 6.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Because we made the geese portion of the flying geese, we made this square the exact size we needed. We should have a true 6.5 inch measurement across here. So let's check that out. and it's really close. There's a little bit to trim, but I'm going to leave it right now because I'd rather have a little bit more than a little bit less. Now we're going to look at the top and bottom. So now I've got my 6.5, and we're going to look at the top where the point is. We want our 1/4 inch mark on our ruler to be just above that point. We don't want the point to be cut off when we stitch this to something else. We have a little bit to cut off here and here, so I'll go ahead and do that. Now we'll turn it around, and we want to measure 3.5 inches from here. And what we'll also want to do is line up this diagonal line. And your corner here should go right on that fabric where the seam line is. It should split that. It does over here better than it does over here, but I'm not going to worry about that. So trim that off. And then you have your 6.5 by 3.5 inch flying geese, and do that to all 4 of them. All of our units are done, and we just lay them out on the proppet board. Now we stitch the top row together, the middle and the bottom, press your seams, and then stitch the rows together. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.